Welcome to our virtual award ceremony, Leaders by Head and Heart Season 2. Thanks to all participants who are joining us. I'm Ravindra, the founder of the Asian Network, a digital and online community of 450 plus thought business and young leaders, mainly from 25 Asian countries, and your host for tonight. Our mission is to support throughout our webinars and virtual conference the role of technology for and UN Sustainable Development Goals such as gender equality and climate action. Tonight's event is a celebration of 8 fantastic and inspiring leaders from India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and Afghanistan in their respective fields from health, education to environment, disability, and work. Around 7:30 p.m. we'll have an interlude session with a duo of violinists from Malaysia. But tonight is also a reminder that we are all facing global challenges, and one way to tackle this challenge is with empathy and compassion to support those who need it the most. Season 2 will give a special importance to climate actions, rewarding 3 Asian leaders within this field and in line with the recent COP26 in Glasgow. I do believe personally that all together, collectively, we can support each other and achieve more for a better future. I will share now with you a quick video to remind us how we may act responsibly and respect our environment. The title of the video is Can't Negotiate the Melting Point of Ice.
The Arctic is warming almost 3 times faster than the rest of the planet, changing the Arctic ecosystems forever, causing destruction around the planet. Once Arctic ice melts, we can't get it back. We can't negotiate the melting point of ice. World leaders must take immediate action to keep 1.5 alive.
So the Asian Network and I would like to thank our main sponsor area, the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, and his president, Professor Hidetoshi Nishimura. To all the awardees, congratulations for your dedication and passion and for your valuable work for your community, society, and country. You will share tonight to all participants a message of empathic leadership, your mission and vision, and probably a message of hope for the next generations. I would like to end my introduction note with this quote from His Excellency Frank Jensen, former EU ambassador to the Philippines. In her previous award ceremony, he said, "Heart and head are both needed, and so is working together across national boundaries if we are to overcome the challenges we are facing." So now it's to kick off with our first series of awardees. Each will have around 3 to 5 minutes to share a message from their leadership and experience. We are happy to welcome Ravi Kumar, our first awardee, Leaders by Head and Heart, for his social impact work with Code for Nepal. Ravi joined the World Bank in 2012 and most recently led Open Government Data and Data Literacy Initiative at the World Bank's Nepal office. He is a member of the Asia Society 21 Young Leaders and the Society for Policy Science. He has founded Code for Nepal, making data accessible, increasing digital and data literacy among thousands of youth, and rebuilt dozens of schools in Nepal. Congratulations, Ravi. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Ravindra. I'm very, very honored to be here. And hello, everyone. Good evening to many of you who are in Asia. Good afternoon to Ravindra, who is in Europe. And of course, good morning to people who are based in the East Coast of the US like me. Very early good morning. I'm very happy and honored to be here with you all today. And again, thank you very much to my friend Ravindra and his team for this great opportunity and honor. As Ravindra said, in many parts of the world, amidst a very challenging time due to this pandemic, we are finding courage and hope to celebrate this season of gratitude and be with our families. So I hope all of you will have time to spend some time with your family, and happy holidays to everybody. As Ravindra said, I'm Ravi Kumar, based in Washington, and as founder of Code for Nepal, I've been amazed by what a small group of people can do to make a difference. As many of you know, Nepal is one of the poorest countries in the world, and many in the country lack digital and data literacy and access to technology. So my nonprofit organization, Code for Nepal, provides scholarships to virtually anybody who's interested in learning and gaining digital and data skills. So with many thanks to our partners and supporters, we have been able to scale up our efforts, especially in the past 2 years since the pandemic began, to rapidly increase access to opportunities to hundreds and hundreds of folks to become digitally and data savvy. We're on track this year to grant almost $1 million worth of scholarships by our partners and supporters to almost 1,000 young group of students, and of course mid-career professionals and anybody else who is interested in building their digital and data skills. When I was talking to Ravindra, I was telling him that, as somebody who comes from a very humble background, I struggled to go to school due to many reasons, including lack of finances. And so I know how crucial it is to help create opportunities for others. And we all, I believe, have the ability an opportunity to do our part, even in small ways. There are literally no small actions. You could do just a long journey begins with a small step. And currently, as we saw in the video, we are living in an unprecedented environment. Many crises are converging: the climate change and the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, conflict in many parts of the world, and series of other crises are forcing us to make difficult choices. On the other hand, there is a lot of technological innovation happening and cross-border collaboration, like the one we are seeing right now. All of us from many parts of the world are together, even for an hour or so today, to exchange ideas and learn from each other. So in some ways, to paraphrase Charles Dickens, we are living in the best of the times and the worst of the times. And we must choose, in my view, hope over hopelessness, especially during this very, very dark and difficult time. We are one of the most educated, connected generations in the history. And so we should all do to shape our future. I have my friend here, Renard. I just learned he's one of the most influential men in Asia. So there are a lot of great people in this community that Ravindra has brought, and we hope we all can connect and do our part to help each other protect our planet and our people and shape our future. And together, I think we can. So with that, let me just stop here and thank you again. And over to you, Ravindra.
Thanks, Ravi, for your inspiring message and your support for the Asian Network. So now, our second awardee is Mrs. Wen Chia from Malaysia. And we congratulate her with Green Yards, a social enterprise that recycles cooking oil to eco-friendly products and aims to reduce water pollution. She received the Queen's Young Leaders Award in 2018 for her efforts to protect the environment, and in 2019, she was on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list Asia Social Entrepreneurs. Congratulations, Wen. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ravindra. Hi everyone, this is Wen from Malaysia. So I'm the founder of Green Yards, where we provide platform for community to recycle their used cooking oil, and we actually reprocess it into products such as candles, soap bar, and also cleaning powder. Recently, we also developing an inclusive opportunity to help marginalized community to earn a dignified income while helping the environment. So it's been a roller coaster journey that everyone has the potential to be a leader regardless of your title or position. But many people give themselves the title of leader and expect others to think of themselves as a leader without actually understand the meaning of leadership. Whether we are granted with the title of leader by others or take it upon ourselves, we must remember that leadership is an honor and privilege than something that must be earned because others are counting on us and they are placing their trust in us. Thus, we must lead with our head and heart. Once again, thank you so much for Mr. Ravindra and the Asian Network for having me here today. It's my great honor to be here and congratulations everyone. With all of you, together we can create a greater impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Weishin, for your message. Let's see if Spandana is there because she's facing some technical issue. Otherwise, we go directly to Dr. Collins. Spandana, are you there? Okay, so let's move directly to our next awardees while Spandana tried to reconnect. That's, I think, the weakness of the technology that we cannot control, sadly. And this is also a live event. So let's move directly to our next awardee, Dr. Collins. He's a medical doctor and the founder of the M-Exchange, a pilot project that works with vulnerable communities by hosting free medical camps and building sustainable schools. Since 2013, the M-Exchange has treated over 3,007 patients through mobile clinics in low-income areas, of which 60% were women and children. Dr. Collins is also an Associate Fellow of the Royal Commonwealth Society and recently an Asia Foundation Development Fellow. Congratulations, Dr. Collins. The floor is yours.
Hi, thanks a lot. I hope you all can hear me. I'm joining in from Sweden today. I'm currently with Karolinska Institute and doing a master's in public health and disasters. And I just want to say that for me, I think that leadership is something that we all have inside. It's a quality that we all can develop. And I'm a very strong believer about community empowerment and building community resilience from the grassroots level. And I think that the youth of today are really the vanguards of change and will be responsible for building a sustainable future for us all, a better future for us all. You know, in healthcare, we were on track to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. But, you know, due to the pandemic, there's been a setback, a major setback in many fields in medicine. And we don't know how long this will last and when we can recover from this. But I believe that with the support of the communities across the globe and support of youth and young people, in the development of sustainable solutions, innovative solutions, we can quickly pull back on track. Most recently, because I'm studying disasters, I came across something that's very interesting that I would like to share with all of you today. The concept of disaster risk reduction. So when we talk about disasters, we always think about floods, cyclones, the so-called defined as natural disasters in the past. But the COVID pandemic has also highlighted to us that disasters can also be biological, it can be industrial, such as the Beirut port explosion. And I think disasters is something that we need to, especially disaster risk reduction, is something that we need to think about across all spheres. So across all the SDGs, across every project that we are involved in, it's very important that we plan for disaster risk reduction to mitigate the impact of any disaster that can happen to our projects. With the COVID pandemic, there were some organizations that had a contingency plan that was ready in terms of when there was a global pandemic, and these organizations or these projects were able to quickly wrap it up and get back on track, and they've been proven to be very successful during this time. And so as UNDR says, the prediction of the estimate, the model, is that for every dollar that is spent in disaster risk reduction, you can save up to potentially $15 in disaster response. And so I would like to stress that and to encourage everyone to think about how we can mitigate risk in the form of disasters across all our projects that we are involved in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Collins, for your message. Now let's try to reconnect with Spandana, our last awardee for these first sessions. Although she's tried to have some issue with connection, let's see if this works. Otherwise, I will introduce her. So Spandana Palaypu, she's the founder of So Easy, a platform that helps educate and match migrant blue-collar job seekers to the right employment opportunities via ethical and transparent hiring. She has been featured by World Economic Forum and Financial Times for the work she's doing, and has received several awards, including Forbes 30 Under 30 and Forbes 50 Startup, among others. Congratulations, Spandana. Let me start and play an interlude of the Swan, a Viola duet by Dicky, Chow and Greyson Chan from Millennial Strings Band. And see you after. Thank you. So her first awardee for her second series is Anoka Primrose Abeyratne from Sri Lanka. Anoka is the co-founder of Sustain Solutions, a social enterprise focused on environmental conservation and community building and utilizing foresight for long-term development. She was featured by international and national media, including the Forbes Under 30 list and Cosmopolitan magazine. She's also a UN TEDx and World Bank speaker. Tonight, we congratulate Anoka for her implication for a sustainable future. Congratulations, Anoka. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ravindra, for that incredible honor and introduction. Hello, good evening, good morning, wherever you are from. Thank you so much for having me here today. So I'm not a person of a lot of words, so I wanted to highlight a couple of things. So when I started off with mangroves, which is a plant which grows near lagoons and sea. And we managed to do a replantation and reforestation program, which became a social enterprise and expanded to a couple of countries. And through this work, I understood the importance of bringing more people and collaborators to the table. And one of the ways that you could do that was to invest in the communities. And that's why we launched a sustainability fund. In addition to that, we also understood the importance of tech. Not everybody can be there right now. I mean, look at all of us. We're all here virtually. So in the same way, it's a lot more about bringing people together, even virtually, remotely from wherever you are, but towards a common purpose. And that's something that's really important in our way going forward, a hybrid model. And it's also so important to understand how you communicate, how you take your messaging out there by using digital mediums or even looking at different types of apps and also bringing people who might have a bigger voice than you on board as well. And these are things that we did to make sure that our message would go further. Now, I know that you might be just starting your journey right now, or you might be midway, or you might be at a point where you're wondering how to go forward. And these are some considerations that I hope that'll help you in your journey going forward. And to also think very importantly about the people that you bring together. Because if it's people who really want to make a difference, as you would have seen, even at the conference of parties, at COP26, all of it, it's not really about talking or words or saying things anymore. It's really about what you can do. And I hope and pray for you that there'll be more power to all of you in doing a lot more in all of your respective fields. And thank you. Thank you for having me here. And congratulations, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Anoka, for this inspiring message. Our next awardee, it's Alina Alam from India. Alina believes that compassion and courage are the two weapons that could eradicate most problems that our world face. She started Miti Cafe while at university with an aim to create platforms for adults with physical, intellectual, and psychiatric disabilities. It served over 5 million meals in 3 years through their cafe and served over 1 million Corona meals to the economical less privileged during COVID-19. Alina has been featured in Forbes' list of 30 under 30 and a Commonwealth Youth Award finalist. Congratulations, Alina. The floor is yours.
Ravindra, thank you so much for the opportunity, and it is indeed inspiring to be amidst such amazing people who've done enough and more from the heart to inspire. Well, I started my journey when I was 23 in college, waiting for placements, and then I came across this documentary that turned my life upside down. This documentary introduced me to a guy called Nero. So, for those of you who don't know who he is, so Nero was this emperor in the ancient Roman Empire, mighty, rich. You see, he would win one war after the other and the other. And one day he wins the biggest battle of his life. And when you win, what do? You celebrate. So he decided to throw a party and he invited the who's who of Tinseltown. He invited kings and queens. He invited prince and princesses. And as evening befell, Nero had this idea that, boss, we need some lights to make the party happening. So he decided to burn waste to generate light. He decided to warn the prisoners of war and the poor people who were captured, who he considered no more than waste. The 23-year-old that I was, I realized that the problem is not Nero. So you could equate Nero with atrocities, injustice, all the not so nice things around the world that we see. The problem, as I could understand then and today, was Nero's guests, as to how thousands of them could sing, dance, and drink when fellow human beings burned and died. And a bigger realization for me was when I realized that I was one of Nero's guests. That is, if any of us feel something about anything, and if you're not willing to take action, then unfortunately we've taken side, and that side is that of the oppressor. I decided I wanted to create a model that is visible for those who can't see, tangible, interactive, and the success or the failure of which would be directly dependent on the community. And what better than food to connect people to people? So I decided to use food as a medium to generate livelihood opportunities for people with disabilities and create awareness about inclusion with every meal that we serve. So our first employee was this girl who came in crawling for the interview because at that point of time her family could not afford a wheelchair. Today, that same girl who couldn't even hold a cup of coffee, today she sits on her wheelchair and manages 10 other people with disability. She is the manager for our first cafe. Her name is Kirti, and as I talk to you, we have hundreds of Kirtis across the 17 Mitti cafes that we have that are run by wonderful adults with physical, intellectual, and psychiatric disabilities who have in the last 5 years served over 6 million meals and beverages. And during the COVID time, as Ravindra mentioned, it gives us immense pride to say that a lot of employees who we rehabilitated from the road, who were either begging or were homeless, they currently live with us, they work, they earn with dignity. And one of them, he came to us and he said at the peak of COVID that, and he's got cerebral palsy and autism. He tells me that, there are people who are hungry and we know how to cook. We started with a few hundred meals with his vision that if we start cooking, nobody will stay hungry. And our team of adults with disabilities in the last 2 years have served over 2 million meals to the economically vulnerable, thereby enabling us to create awareness, like I say, with every meal that we serve. And I've always valued the power of the individual to influence any community. And, when we talk about economic independence and dignity, or when we talk about matters like poverty, we talk about hunger, we talk about domestic violence, we talk about violence against women, we talk about millions of girl children dropping out of school. The numbers are in millions and billions often. We talk about 7 crore people with disabilities in India and over 1 billion across the world. And the question may arise in your minds that where is it that we should start? I mean, what difference does it make? And my answer to this, to all of y'all, is that there was a high tide and there were millions of starfishes on the seashore. And you see, there was a girl, she was picking up one starfish, throwing it into the water, the other starfish throwing it into the water. And a wise old man comes and asks her, "Young girl, what are you doing?" And then, she continues to do what she's doing. And this time he asks her more assertively, "Young girl, what are you doing? I mean, what difference does it make? The shore is full of millions of starfishes and here you are. Is this some kind of a game? You're picking up one, throwing it into the water, the other throwing it into the water." So this time, she picks up one starfish, she throws it into the water. And what she says changed my perception about change, and I hope it changes yours as well. So she threw that starfish into the water and she tells the old man that it made a difference to that one. So for me, my first starfish was Kirti, and every day it is a pursuit to find the other and the other and the other starfish till we reach out to the billionth starfish across the world for whom economic independence and dignity is not yet a reality. And as one of my favorite poets, the Kumar, says that, and I will translate it for you all. He says this in Hindi. He says that मेरे सीने में नहीं तो तेरे सीने में सही हो कहीं भी आग लेकिन आग जलनी चाहिए, which means that irrespective of whether I live or die, irrespective of whether the ignition is in my heart or yours, that ignition should stay on. And I don't believe, as a community, I think we should remove the word social work from our dictionary, because it is our social duty to pay off the social debt that God has, given us with everything that He's blessed us with. So it is about time that we pay off that social debt by doing whatever we can of our duty, inspire just one more person, and the world will change for the better. And in all of this, two things that I would pledge that you'll remember. One is that, when you start onto your entrepreneurship journey, it is 99% implementation, 1% the idea. It is important that you have faith. I have a lot of faith in God, and of course, you need to keep amazing people around you. So for me, my family, my friends, my fiance, they've all been amazing.
Thanks, Alina, for sharing this inspiring message. Thank you so much. Now it's come to our next awardee from Afghanistan, and we would like to thank Freshta Karim for her dedication improving children's life in Afghanistan. Freshta founded Charmax, a Kabul-based NGO that runs mobile libraries to create space for critical thinking to children. It has 400 visitors per day. She's also previously worked with the Joint Coup UN agency, World Bank, international organizations, the Afghan government. She dreams of a world where every child has access to quality education. Congratulations, Freshta. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. It's really a big honor, and I'm really inspired by everyone, specifically by Alina. I absolutely echo and believe in what he said. She said that for us to bring a bigger change, we need to start from really small and believe in it, and in the process hope that others are joining us for us to bring a bigger change. And I think that our story also started with something similar. I was working with the government of Afghanistan at a point, and at the president's office, I was analyzing the elections for the president's office, the parliamentary election, and in the process, I had this moment of realization that for us to have a big political change, we need to work at grassroots level and to change something from within, from the people. And that's when I started working with this idea to promote critical thinking among children through mobile libraries. So we started getting old public buses that were no more used by the government and started turning it to mobile libraries. Right now, with the Taliban's takeover of the country, the libraries closed down for 3 months. Of course, so many NGOs closed, but for us also it was a big dilemma. Shall we continue our work or should we stop? Because continuing means that we should work in extremely difficult circumstances where even raising funds, and even if you raise funds, sending that money back to country is extremely difficult because of sanctions, because of the problems in the banking system and all. So there are so many problems for us to continue. And the answer for us was that if there is children, if there is a need for it, we shall continue even in the most of circumstances. I'm very proud of my team that they could manage to take the permissions needed to restart the work. Right now it's restarted, and we are the first national NGO in Afghanistan that all our female staff are working right now as I'm talking to you. They are back on the streets with the libraries and are creating platforms for children to read, to think, to ask questions, and to feel empowered in the process. One thing I realized in the process of doing all this is the concept of leadership, because we are talking here about leaders by head and heart. I realized that often there's a certain understanding, which was with me too at one point, that I'm the leader, I'm the change maker, I'm going to change. But in the process, I realized that itself is putting me in a position of superior than other people, thinking that I'm better than others and I'm here to change their life. Rather, that itself is a very problematic approach towards the people that we are working for and working with. I believe, and I learned in the process, that as people who we are taking initiatives, we are just creating platforms for the people to bring change to themselves, to their own lives. So I'm just creating platform with my colleagues for children so they can bring change to their lives. We are not going and changing their lives, because the first step for me to be able to do something for people is to recognize that they have power. The power lies with the people. The power is not with us. We are not superior than them. We are just in more privileged position than them. And so it is our duty to create that platform for them so they can empower themselves. Also, the other learning I had in the process is that any work that becomes successful is a work of a collective of people. I have 30-member team who are working back in Kabul, and I'm just one of them. and without them, it would have not been possible. Fortunately or unfortunately, every organization has an image of one person as the leader, as doing things, but I believe we should change that. We should have image of everyone who contributes, because without them, nothing becomes possible. And each one of them is as important as the leader because of the work that they're doing. So I really want to thank my team for making this possible. And thank you for this platform, for allowing me to share some of my reflections and for the recognition.
Thanks, Freshta, for sharing this beautiful message, and also your inspiring missions will, I'm sure, provide example to the people who look at our webinar. Finally, our last awardee for tonight's virtual ceremony is Dr. Ronald Siu, also known as Asia's Green Warrior, an environmentalist who wears many hats. Among several other notable achievements, he is the man behind the Accelerating Climate Action Initiative, which seeks to raise $1 billion for climate entrepreneurs in Asia. Dr. Reynolds is also part of the World Economic Forum's Global Shapers community and serves as Climate Reality Advisor at the Center for Governance and Political Studies in Malaysia. Congratulations, Dr. Reynolds. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ravi and the ASEAN Network for the opportunity to be here and hopefully to share, one or two things. And also congratulations to all the awardees. I guess for me, I just wanted to share a little bit about my story of how I actually got started in this space. As you know, the theme of tonight is really about leading by hate and heart. And as I sort of reflect back, I think it's so important to have a balance of both. For me, I started by growing up actually in a very small city. And at a very young age, I've seen some of the most devastating floods that have affected, the livelihoods of my people. In fact, I actually lost a very close friend at the age of 10 years old as a result of a flood incident, which had a huge impact on me. And I remember as a kid, I was always very curious. I would always ask the adults around me, like, what is actually causing, right? What is it that our communities have constantly been facing all of this flood event, right? And it's often the marginalized communities that actually feel the brunt of this. And very often than not, the response that I typically get is that, it's an act of God. There's nothing much that you can do, which really what led me onto this trajectory or this journey of wanting to pursue climate action, knowing for a fact that, it's very clear. Scientists have said that, the climate crisis is caused by mankind, by our own activities. So we have to take accountability of it. And I guess with that sort of sense of realization comes also a sense of commitment of wanting to, really do something in this space, just so that, we can lessen the burden of those who are currently already facing the impacts of the climate crisis. One of the things I've realized through my journey of advocacy is how interconnected all of our stories are. I may have lost someone at the age of 10, but then there are also other people who have also lost their family members in typhoons and floods, or even wildfires that are happening all across the globe. And, I guess this is also why I've started accelerating climate action, because I genuinely feel that youths are not, the leaders of tomorrow, they're the leaders of today, and they're already coming up with really incredible, innovative solutions of wanting to change the world and create a positive impact. And I want to be able to support them by pulling together as much funds as I can, right? And to create this sense of community. As one of the awardees had mentioned earlier, it's so important to focus on things like partnerships, because no man is an island, and we have to leverage on each other's skill sets, right, in order to achieve the best possible outcome. And I guess with that, I would love to be connected to all of you, and I'll pass the time back to Ravindra.
Thank you, Dr. Ronald. Before we end the sessions, we would like to invite on stage Professor Yamanaka, former Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Japan, to give the closing remarks.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Ravindra. I would like to extend my congratulations to the awardees of Asian Network today, and I enjoyed the beautiful speeches of the awardees. Post-COVID-19 era will be very confused and unstable because the value and behavior of the people and even international relations will be changed. Therefore, we have to prepare for the new era of 5G. In addition to the economic down, natural disasters, regional conflicts, we are facing basic problems. I'd like to introduce the words of late Kenneth Galbraith, the economic professor of Harvard University. When I met him for the first time, he said, Japan and the USA have succeeded to produce real excellent products. However, it is doubtful if we can produce real happy people. And when I met him the second time, he said, there are 3 problems in the 21st century. 1, the problem of the rich and the poor. 2, nuclear issues. 3, the traditional discrimination such as race, religion, gender, and so on. And more than 20 years ago, former Prime Minister of Norway, Ms. Brundtland, said, the 19th century is the century of Europe. 20th century is the century of America. And the 21st century is the century of Asia, so that we will not miss the bus to Asia. I do believe that Asian community should establish Asian identity with the soft Asian way, which will be great help to frame the new world order in this complicated world community. And I do believe that you, the awardees today, are the leaders of establishing the new world order. And the Area Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia has strong tools to support you to do so. The following 3 key concepts will help you to guide to the new era. 1, ensuring social resilience. A simple glance at the world map of conflict leaves most of us simply speechless. At the same time, natural disasters as well as pandemic like COVID-19 are increasing year on year. Therefore, we have to consider how to ensure the resilience of society from humans to infrastructure. 2, addressing common interests. When we look at the trade problems plaguing the world at this moment, most developed nation states have tried to establish multilateral rules that ally with common interests. But if on the global stage only the strong win at bilateral trade negotiations, no one in this complicated, interconnected world will survive. Even the winner will suffer a backlash as common interests reassert themselves in a boomerang effect. The urgent need to spread the concept of protection, common interests to everyone who does not yet realize its importance is underlined. Democracy is based on not only rule of law, but also common interest, I think. 3, establishing an age of balance. I believe it is important to recognize that the 21st century is the age of balance. The struggling for balance is being waged on an international, state, and even individual level. Between dichotomies of competing values, they include development, environment protection, globalization, regionalization, high-tech information, individual privacy, group orientation, individualism, work, leisure, materialism, spiritualism, male, female, military solutions, non-military alternatives, national interests, international interests, in other words, common interest, and even protection of lives from COVID-19, protection of economics. So everyone, ladies and gentlemen, it is very important to build a foundation of strong ethics in every society that respects healthy human lives for all its citizens and which extends to all members of the world community. So congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Akiko Yamanaka, for your closing remarks and your support for this event. We are happy of each collaboration with AREA and the Asian Network, and more to come for 2022. I would like to congratulate again all awardees, to thank them tonight for their work and commitment. We salute all of you for your courage and compassion. Thanks also to all participants. True connection, commitment, and leadership overcomes our difference. Princess Diana believed that young people have the power to change the world, and she said that leading from the heart is more important than leading with the head. On this final quote, I would like to close this virtual award ceremony season 2. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and see you in 2022 for other Leaders by Head and Heart award ceremony, hopefully in person this time. Thank you.